It feels like a long time since the last time I did a video on Maine, but in reality, I think it's only been about a couple weeks. At least this one isn't about Governor Mills. This time, it's a tour guide from Portland, Maine. You'll hear just how much he's struggling as more Canadians keep choosing not to cross the border. Then there's this other report, this one from NBC. It's a reminder of what's really keeping the tourists away, or at least one of the reasons: safety. And not just for Canadians, but for international travelers too. Let's take a look at both reports.
Portland has been feeling the big weight of international tension.
Akua Duvall introduces us to one local tour guide to highlight how these global strains are taking a toll on small businesses.
For people looking to visit a city that is basically a big small town dressed up like a city, this is a great place to visit.
Through rain or shine, Dugan Murphy's passion for history and storytelling brings out about 2,800 guests a year to participate in his tours.
By the way, my name's Dugan. I am your tour guide. My wife helped me create a business, and that's what we offer today. The motivation really being that we can explore histories, stories of people and events that typically get overlooked in Portland.
Murphy founded Portland by the Foot in 2021. He's also the lead tour guide. But like the weather, this year's tourism season has looked extra gloomy.
But I have noticed a decline in international guests, especially Canadians. I really have only had one Canadian take this tour so far this year.
Just one single Canadian. That's how many have joined his tour in all of 2025. Now, we don't know his usual numbers, but based on his tone, it sounds like he used to have a steady stream of Canadians booking with him. And to me, that sends a loud message. This boycott isn't just talk anymore, it's real and is continuing. And unfortunately, this tour owner is feeling the full weight of it.
Generations of Colesworthies were printing and selling books.
In a typical year, about 7% of Murphy's customers are international, but this year has dropped to just over 4%.
It's just really sad to see that rift because historically the Canadians are our friends and neighbors, and we've really messed up that relationship as a country. I'm really sad for that.
Murphy is referring to when President Donald Trump triggered backlash by imposing 25% tariffs on Canadian imports and suggesting that Canada should become the 51st U.S. state. This prompted former Prime Minister Justin Trudeau to urge Canadians to boycott U.S. travel, causing widespread tourism cancellations.
All right, let me pause here for a second and let's be real. We didn't need former Prime Minister Justin Trudeau or any politician to tell us to boycott. Canadians made this decision on their own. No one from the government is telling us to stay away from the US or stop buying American products. This boycott came from the people, it's grassroots, and is real. And I was surprised to hear US media actually mention the whole 51st state rhetoric. Are they finally catching on? Maybe, but I wouldn't count on it.
And the economic fallout is being felt. Maine officials say that heated political rhetoric has Maine on track to lose as much as 225,000 Canadian visitors this year, translating into hundreds of millions in lost spending. The Maine Office of Tourism says that Canadians spent nearly $500 million in 2024 alone, stressing the importance of Canadian dollars.
Yeah, this is the critical months for all of our entire tourism sector, including tour guides.
President of Maine State Chamber of Commerce, Patrick Woodcock, says that 5% of Maine's total tourism is from Canada.
Sounds like a small number, but it can have a very pronounced in some specific geographic areas.
Murphy says he's lucky to have a growing business, but he can't help but think about the financial hit he is projected to take once the year wraps up.
Now they're saying that Canadians only make up 5% of the Portland, Maine's tourism. Honestly, that feels a little bit low to me. But even if we take it at face value, 5% is still enough to shake up the hospitality industry. Restaurants, hotels, tour guides, they're all feeling it. Still, my gut tells me the real number is higher than that. What do you think? Let me know in the comments if you feel the same way.
Yet despite the difficult time for his business, Murphy's background as a historian helps him have an optimistic outlook.
Being a student of history, I actually take maybe more hope than a lot of the people I talk to in Portland. And I've seen moments in U.S. history that seem to be much darker, harder to come back from than the moment we're in right now. And I'd like to think that we could bounce back from the moment we're in right now.
I'm not too sure about that. Now, I'm no historian like this guy, but let's be real. The past doesn't excuse the present. It's like when Governor Mills keeps repeating on how Canada and Maine have always been great friends. Sure, maybe we were close, but the key word is were. Things have changed, and no amount of friendly history is going to erase what happened in the last 6 months. It's like being in a relationship when someone threatens you, then says, "But hey, remember all those good times before I tried to kill you?" Yeah, no. I know it's a rough analogy, but let me know in the comments if that made any sense to you. Now, putting that aside, this next clip is going to be a serious reminder of why so many of us are choosing not to go back to the US. Let's take a look.
The latest video to send shockwaves from San Diego immigration court through the immigrant community is actually not of an immigrant, but a 71-year-old U.S. citizen named Barbara Stone.
I was surprised. It felt like an out-of-body experience.
Stone was handcuffed and held by federal agents for 8 hours on Tuesday, according to her family.
This is from the handcuffs, so I have a large bruise there. I feel mentally and psychologically traumatized.
In video of the incident, which was shared with NBC7, you see the moment tensions boiled over and an officer says Stone pushed her. Stone denies that. NBC7 made several attempts to contact ICE about the incident, but was referred to a different agency under the Department of Homeland Security, the Federal Protective Service, and we've yet to hear back.
Now, I know this channel mainly focuses from a Canadian point of view, but this story out of the US needs to be seen. Because if this can happen to a 71-year-old American citizen, what do you think the chances are for a tourist? ICE isn't just going for the immigrants anymore. They're picking up people with no warning, no questions, just assumed guilty. And that's the direction things are heading. And it's not even just the immigrants or criminals anymore. This is how they're treating their own people. So if you're Canadian or from anywhere else, and you're thinking about visiting the US, I would have a deep thought about whether or not you still want to go.
NBC7 spoke with Stone's husband, Gershon Shafir, the day his wife was detained.
She is a soft-spoken person who was here to protect innocent refugees. And she is the last person in the universe who would hit an agent or interfere with their work.
Stone was at the court to observe proceedings and how the federal agents act, which is legal and, according to Ruth Mendez of Detention Resistance, a First Amendment right.
The fear is very, very here, and the volunteers that are showing up today are now coming knowing that there might be a risk of our own detention.
No charges have been pressed against Stone, but her family says her phone was confiscated. Mendez worries there will be invisible impacts, like people deciding not to volunteer. You hear an officer in the video suggest more people could have been detained.
Clear the way. Everybody's gonna start getting detained.
The message that it sent was very clear, for us to be afraid to come back and do the work that we're doing.
Okay, I'm going to stop it right here. If you want to see the full report, I'll leave the link in the description. But the reason why I wanted to show you this part was to remind Canadians and our international allies what you're really walking to if you still choose to visit the US. First, you have to go through CBP at the border. Then you got ICE, roaming around like a pack of wolves, scooping up people without warnings, and even their own citizens. And on top of that, you got the 77 million Donald supporters who would rather we just stay out. That doesn't sound like a relaxing vacation to me. Now, I know most of you watching have made your decision a long time ago, to never step foot in the US again. But maybe someone close to you hasn't. A friend, a family member, someone who still thinks the safety risk is being exaggerated. If that's the case, show them this video. Because this isn't just about how tourists are treated. This is about what the US is doing to their own citizens. And if this is how they treat people who live there, just imagine what they'll do to visitors. Even Americans who are showing up in our comments here are telling us not to come. They're warning us because they see what's happening to the country every day. So if anyone you know still thinks a weekend getaway to the US is still worth the risk, let this be a wake-up call. If you enjoyed this video, hit like, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs to hear it. Tap the bell so you don't miss the next one. And if you're still here, check out the other videos showing up on your screen now. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.